lighting the white sage. Love it. Experiencing a lot of the Pisces, and I just posted a video that will be going out on the 21st, and there's another video coming out on the 19th, which is just like the other videos that are kind of just drab, I guess. What I really wanted to start talking about is the English language thing, the language problem. It's a problem because, well, what do we use language for in the first place? See, now I don't want to get too like freaking serious and vacuous or anything for the kids, but no, it is kind of like that. It's like, well, what are we talking about? Now, we have a world that is just chock full of stuff. Like, have you found your place in it yet? Have you found your way? Is it really this way where we kind of like, we don't see each other, but boy, isn't it a mass amount of crap going on? Now, I'm coming from a place of being a loner pretty good. I'm hermitage, and I don't like to talk about that too much. It makes us vulnerable, especially here out in the West, right? But no, I have pretty good protection, like a lot of people can have that. Spiritual protection is one. So, but the time that I'm in right now is that we should just get plenty of sleep, because that was the call for not only the past, like, oh boy, since February, and since Mars has been in Cancer since September, but really is the past year and a half. I feel myself trying to get my nerves away from being so ridden upon. And I'm going through a passage where I can just see now in a certain way that I wasn't able to see. And it has nothing to do with anybody, but just the passage, the time, the cycle that we're going through. I mean, astrology can help, and we look at it, and when somebody has Neptune going over a personal planet, or Pluto going over a personal planet, or a trine, or something like that, it's a remarkable passage that they're going through. And boy, thank God for astrology. I don't see how a civilization could be any more or less. See, people are walking blind without knowing astrology, because, well, getting back to the language thing, see, astrology is an esoteric symbols system which uses symbols to point at planets and the signs, and those planets and signs are, boy, this is difficult for me to talk. Sorry about this. It's pointing at the truth. It's always going to be pointing back at the truth. They're just pointers. Like Mars suggests the masculine side, or the body, the blood, the very active part of mankind itself. Man, the symbol of the Mars is known around the world, I think, to be, no, they know what it is. It's the male side, right? And so we have Venus, and that's the feminine, and the woman, and that rules our pleasure and our value system, and evaluating in love. And yeah, anything to do with V, you'd be surprised. But see, it's always pointing at experiences found in reality. It's not the experiences themselves. Just like any language, see, I find that there is a big uh, need for talking about the nature of talking and stuff like that. And I think it will come up. I think we're heading towards a place where Uranus has never been. Now, let me look at Uranus for us. And it's difficult to think that Uranus is in Taurus, but it is. And so here it is in the middle of March here on the 18th, and we're looking at Uranus. It's still at the very early degree. I mean, it's a retrograde shadow, and it's not going to hit a new degree until next month, at the end of the month. And that's when astrologers, including me, predicts that there's going to be like a jostling, and it's going to it's going to disallow stagnation. It's going to start moving around the population, and it could be a major earth catastrophe. But we know of those that can be caused by mankind. You know, they can easily screw something up in conjunction with, just volcanic activity and stuff. But yeah, could happen in the United States. That's what we're waiting for, is for the U.S. to be under complete control of something because of the emergency. And because it's kind of already structured, endangered that way. Because, first of all, we don't know who the boss is, and second of all, look at history. So, anyway, minute 7, I made a video with this shirt on that I'm going to do my best to edit it. And anyway, how's Shauna doing? Well, I'm doing what I should be doing in relationships when we're talking about the quality of the human relating that we're conducting. If you can imagine, see, I don't make money, so I don't conduct a very false interaction. What I mean is I don't afford um, to just shut my mouth and put my head down and run. Isn't that weird? A weird way to talk or say? Needless to say, well, no, it hasn't been up until about 4 years that I haven't been able to make any the amount of money that I should make per week, per month, to keep up on some things, and so I'm worried about that. And I do put some of the material up here talking about how I would love to convert my social media into a money making, to show you my progress. If I can make a little bit enough to show you literal progress on my home. I guess just the progress project that I might work, which is many little things I need to get done, and maybe I'll do it in my bikini. How about that? If I could just get my creative life going, do it right. But I guess that's part of the character I play in this movie. Is I play, woe is me. I don't know how to make any money, and it's like I'm really talented. There's a lot of stuff. See, I'm trying to figure out this here for us all. The thing about the language thing, it seems pretty overwhelming, but no, something has simplified itself and showed me enough. It's kind of a bummer because, well, it's just me here, and I know that I can influence by writing an article or 2 or 5, or just making it go viral. But see, I haven't written that article yet. What happened, Shauna? Well, I have a personal life that involves kind of being distracted, I feel, mainly because of, well, it's a distraction, like I was trying to tell you in the same video here. Is it about that life out there that calls you to make money, to worry about whatever. And I would love to tell you my story. I keep talking about this too, but I'm not out of it. I'm doing the work that I'm supposed to do. I'm pretty sure I am waiting for communication. Period. Period. If the communication isn't there, then you should find out like what it is that you're requiring, like what is working. Is it working for you? See, talking about in general, like for me, I don't mean to project on you, but that's what I find kind of strange is that, well, I don't feel that the communications is very much, not enough. It doesn't communicate enough for me to feel safe as far as opening up and knowing that things are taken care of. But see, now, where am I coming from? Oh, I don't know. See, the bottom line is, uh, yeah, it's a big conversation. Here it is, minute 11, and how am I going to do it? See, with Mercury retrograde in Aries, it's very choppy anyway, and Venus in Aries too going retrograde. It's not sounding very well. It's not a very good balancing act. There is a balance needed. And so, but here we are, we could revisit some issues in love that are uneasy. And I got the feel, and I know, to just let go. Just let it go. I mean, go to the most natural. Now, I just got the visualization of how water is that it's not going to like assume a weird position other than where it's exactly at as is, as you know. It does the same thing. It kind of just goes in, and there's a flat surface there. You see that, which is interesting to note. But I don't want to get too involved in what the behavior of water in outer space versus like when it hits a structure. But in general, it is. I was going to say it's completely liquid, but it's very malleable, right? It's assuming the container that it's in. It's assuming positions, shapes, and sizes in accordance to its environment, and it doesn't argue or anything. It's just very skillful that way, I guess you could call it. But see, my point is that's kind of where we are now, and that's the call with Neptune. We have this thing coming on with Saturn conjunct Neptune. I tried to talk about that on my last video, and I apologize on how spaced out I might sound. It's a season. We can call it Mars squaring my Mercury, and it's difficult. So you wish that we had people. I wish you, me, we wish we had people around us that can hear us, because we do talk about it. We're saying, well, pardon us, this possibility, and then um, that's all that astrology can do, right? Is we're pointing at possibilities, and that's what words do in general. I think more and more I'm going to keep spiraling through talking about this, that communication is going to be big. It has to come up as something more conscious that we're doing. And now, if you're a Gemini, you're going to experience Uranus going over your sun, if it's just your sun, but really you are your rising sign, which is the very time of day that you were born. It's the sign that was rising on the east. What sign was rising is your rising sign, the time of day that you were born, and then that puts the sun in a certain place in your housing. And that too, you want to look at your sun, moon, and your rising sign. But when I say Gemini going over your sun, yeah, the Uranus going over the sun in Gemini, it doesn't happen but once every 88 years to people, but some people don't experience it at all sometimes. It's a very destabilizing time, to say the least. In Gemini, oh my God, I can't imagine how destabilizing that must be, because Gemini is an air sign anyway, needs grounding, but so it's always moving a lot. It's very flighty and um, short trip in oriented and staying busy, and lots of communication here and there, short and quick, like versatile, many different styles of communications. And so in general, that's just the Gemini energy. So with Uranus there's going to be some kind of breakthrough with it, but with people that have Gemini, they're going to experience more like very erratic and unpredictable scenarios, just very interesting individuals at that point, but around and around we go. This is some zodiac signs, like Taurus right now is experiencing their Uranus return, I guess you would call it, but really it's not return. Just when it hits your personal planets, it's a time of big time change, big time erratic, profound changing that causes like an electrical shock, kind of makes you kind of weird, but really it's just turns you into more open-minded. That's what Uranus is doing, is creating more of a fluid, open-minded kind of person. I'm feeling kind of trippy because a lot of the planets right now on March 18th here are pointing at Mars in a very roundabout way. And I'm Mars ruled, and it's definitely feeling a certain way, but I've been getting a good handle on it. I feel very at peace, and I'm going through a process that I can hardly explain here, but maybe you can relate. But it has to do with the Pisces planets, which is kind of very spiritual passage. It's like, okay, so if you've done enough of a little bit of something each and every day of a kind of spiritual discipline or practice, like for me would be fasting a little bit, but there's many other things. Just, eating the right foods every day is a good ritual. And every day, if you're doing something like that, especially now, since the full moon, see, during the next 6 months, see, we have this passage going on. It's going to prove to be very beneficial. You will be able to receive your downloads. The main thing I would suggest is to meditate. Make sure you give yourself like 20 minutes of getting into just feeling very your inner being. Go into a very quiet place and breathe and feel uh, your inner being. So anyway, thanks for listening to me with this, you guys. It's very difficult to communicate with the Mercury Uranus, or the Mercury Venus goes over my ascendant, and it does affect me. Of course, my communications is good luck. I've said a lot, and I feel like that I need to now. I need to keep a high vibrational frequency and ask for help more. Just keep really trying to get honest with myself. Really, everybody. Really, isn't that tough to finally break down and say, well, no, actually, like this, to alleviate and assist everybody around us. We need to reach out and take care of each other here. And so anyway, here we are, day number 4 into Mercury being at 9 degrees Aries, and yeah, it's opposed my Mars right now, and I'm just very well aware of just the physical world and mental state and activities. I'm able to execute pretty darn good, with my will, but I'm finding it to take every bit of steam, like concentration, and that's fine. I'm used to that kind of thing, and it should be happening that we're emerging into something like that, but it's during a retrograde here. And the only reason why it's happening is because I feel so like I can just fall backwards and just say fuck it and fall into a sea and go into a black hole or something underneath there. I hope it's warm. That's all I know. See, but I speak for a lot of humanity with where we are with everything right now with that. And thank God that it goes back into Pisces now, the Venus in Pisces now. And but see, you're Mercury too, and it's really remarkable what they're both doing. I think I tried to talk about it, but it's just kind of a drag. Bottom line, it's literally causing a drag. It's only good. See, we don't really notice it because here in the Western Hemisphere, in the North here, we're having our we're wrapping up winter, and so we're still in winter, and so it kind of has that feel, right, of just, well, no, just a little bit more, because it is kind of just a little bit more that we could have a snowstorm, one more, maybe two, and but the Piscean planets and the retrograde planets and stuff like this is, yeah, it's really weird. Yeah, I'm telling you, I'm a Martian person. If you're an Aries, you're feeling this, but all of humanity is. There's a certain vital um, part of the organism that is just in this weird, like, state of exactly how you see it right here. It's just like, oh, just got to get out of being in hibernation mode, in hermitage. I can't believe how much it's been happening for me being the Aries here. I'll tell you, um, it's like it's a forever. It shouldn't be this way either, and but I happen to say it's cyclic, and it depends on who you are. But for me, it seems like a forever dark night of the soul, and really, it's like I'm taking on other people's crap, and all I know is like, well, I think that it's eventual that we kind of just shake ourselves off from being under some kind of strange seasonal spell or something, and get rid of people's karma, how they are just right, that they're taking from our energy. This is a very real thing that I'm talking about, as just humanity itself is a very vulnerable time right now. Very hard to make this video, to talk about in the beginning how, well, I'm alone here and need assistance and blah blah blah. It's more like, go ahead and make my day, I know karate kind of a thing. Or how we've already been through that. Now can we get the real help here? Which is just community, you know? Weird. Like, when is that going to happen for all of us? All of us. See, it's weird that we need to find it here. It's hard enough to find it in our 3D realm out there. Some of us might have to move. We might find that we need to move. But where? See, I keep coming up with this and talking about this. Comment section down below if you're hearing me, man. Isn't it the truth, though? See, can't you see that social media is a whole other place where it's supposed to be social? It's social. It says social for a reason. It means that you can socialize. Socialization can happen there. And now I'm serious. I'm serious about this. About not me. Well, there's a typewriter. Writer. What kind of writing do you do? Well, there's types here. I'm serious. I'm not. It's not me. See, I picked up on it. And it's like, oh well, look at this. And it's funny. It's funny because when you start to break down the language and you start to look for birds and words and do this and that, it gets literally funny. It simplifies and it points back. Now you talk about the pointers, we're getting into the subject matter of language being just the same as astrology, in that it's not the truth or the experience of the truth, it's just pointing at it. See, this subject matter about communications needs to happen, it needs to come up. Because, and then, because now what I know and what I've been kind of like been disciplining myself in, I'm seeing that not a single person who uses speech in order to try to wake people up, like to try to tell people, like an astrologer or an oracle or any kind of channeler, a self-help, a person, guru, a motivational speaker, especially ones that use their voices to try to shift consciousness, they have to brush up 100%. They have to know what they're saying. You can't just say revolution. Like, see, there's this one, Pam Gregory, and everybody else is doing this too, but it's sad because it's like, well, that person there, she needs to stop using those words, but everybody does. It's not, we're not waiting for revolutionaries, we're waiting for rebellions. We're not waiting for the revolution, we're waiting for the rebellion. Now, what do you mean by rebellion? See, people have an image in their heads, and it's like, see, this is the problem. It's like, this is why you want to use the words right, and also give them the right impression, give them the right figure in their heads about what it is. We're not talking to see when people hear rebellion, what do they mean? When people hear what is a rebel? Rebellion. It's very strange to know that word, exactly what it means. Okay, rebel. I'm dead serious about this too, really. When you know that they've taken the bells away that would help people raise their vibrational frequency, you have no idea. See, if you don't play music, you don't know what I'm talking about. Now I'm talking about real life music, babes. Or just try to tune it to the tone of A. Can you just hit A for us there? And hit some harmonies, man. See, because I'm sorry, I sound like this. Must be tired and weary and all that stuff, and I am definitely just carrying too much, and most likely you are too. They have us running, and they have us running, and they are laughing. I see a lot, and I don't say half. I cannot hardly communicate it right now. I mean, I will. I'll try to. I've already have, but it's taken like 1,500 videos when really I should just try and simmer it down. I should try and sum it up and condense it into a half an hour. Just kidding. That's impossible, babes. I'm pretty sure it's 3 to 9 hours we're looking at here of exposure. If we really need to or want to and feel it's necessary, it could be. We might have to get into some things because it's about research and it's about just connecting the dots. It's already out there. Now, what the fuck do we use communications for? Should be a socialized economics safety net. One that somebody has figured out of 28 minutes. There's only like hardly 2 minutes is worth it, and this ending is worth it. Figured out that there's two brands here, and one brand is going to be the superior pretty soon. It's going to be hell of a fucking same shit, different war, just announced now, and we can see the writing on the wall.